Hi everyone, it's Heidi with Downtown NorCal Live, and today I'm very excited to have a very special guest, Rose Cholewinski of Swim America. Most of you know her and love her, and I'm going to toggle the screen back and forth today so that you can see her in all her glory. There she is. Hi Rose, welcome
Hi,
to.
everyone. Thanks, Heidi.
So glad to have you. And we've been talking the last couple of days, and it feels like whiplash every hour. So kind of walk us through what you've been through so far.
So this has been just a crazy, crazy week. On Sunday of last week at about 12:30, we met with the leadership team and decided we were going to stay open. And then had all of our communication with our families and with our staff and letting people know we were going to stay open. And then Governor Newsom spoke at about 2 o'clock. And we just we flipped our decision and we decided to close our doors. And at that point, I drafted a hard letter to staff to let them know to file for unemployment, and they were without a job. So I wish this wasn't public. And on Tuesday,
I'll switch back to me, Rose. So I totally understand, this has happened with other business leaders, and it is hard because you're dealing with, you're responsible for so many lives. And I mean, that's kind of ironic given what you do, basically
right.
Lives, right? So, okay, you feel ready to continue?
Yes. Yeah, so then I encourage people to file for unemployment, and then crunch some numbers and decided to bring our leadership team, which is 4 people, to work with and on our recovery and reopening strategies. And so I committed to them to fully employ them through the month of March. And we have been daily doing things behind the scenes to try to gear up for a reopening. We've been in touch with families, letting them know that they can put their accounts on hold, and we would not charge their cards for the month of April. So the month of April, we will have 0 income coming in. And so, today we got our first sort of small stack of EDD requests for information about people applying for unemployment. And that's a hard one too, because the leadership team that currently has ours, they filed, and now their status is different. And so there's a lot of uncertainty about how they need to specifically apply for unemployment. So the form says to reply within 10 days. Well, in 10 days, as well as I do, things are different. And so I just have to trust in my heart that we're all in this together. And if I remain honest as an employer and send back the information saying, today they have hours, I can't predict what they're going to have in 10 days. So I just drafted a letter, and I'm going to include that in the unemployed or the EDD request, and hope that works. So there's a lot, I feel like there's a lot of moving pieces, especially for leadership. And my heart goes out to every single person out there that's a leader, whether they're in operation and their doors are open and they're doing the best they can to serve our community, whether it's a grocery store or a restaurant. They're under the same sort of stress as people who had to close their doors. It's just different. And, I know that we've been encouraged to kind of stay in place and not go out. But because I come and check on the pool along with Steve Sousa, who's really doing a great job keeping our pool healthy and ready to go when we're ready to open, on my way out, I stop at Nugget and I pick up groceries for 5 people. So I'm saving 5 people from going in and getting exposed unnecessarily. And so I'm doing whatever I can. So sort of locally, I'm still working with our First Northern Bank to figure out loans. I'm working with OhmSoft, who's being awesome with our technology and getting us set up to work remote. I'm working with Airco Strategies to figure out marketing strategies, which is different every single day. So I just shake thinking about, what's tomorrow. And I know that in the future, we're going to be strong and we're going to get through this. It's hard, crisis flips routine on its back, and there is no routine, there's no protocol. And I think leaders are used to process and people, and every day those things are different. There's no process here. There's no protocol. We haven't been through this.
I think what you are touching on is a very important point, and that is that it does feel rudderless, because usually we're dealing with a crisis that's a moment, and this is an ongoing and an evolving one, and it's going on for many, many days and weeks, potentially months into the future. And you do mention something about the issues with EDD, and I just wanted to say I'm going to look into that a little bit. I believe our state leaders should know about that kind of concern. So specifically, Senator Dodd and Assemblywoman Cecilia Aguiar-Curry should be communicated with on behalf of any business that's out there, but I will follow up on that. How has this impacted you personally, Rose, if you're willing to share a little bit about your personal life?
Yeah, so personally, John and I right now are kind of ships passing in the night, just talking about his business, talking about my business, talking about the people who make our business, trying to figure out, how is Davis going to remain strong? We rely a lot on our college students, for our workforce for us, and, to rent those apartments, and a lot of them have gone home. And so, when people say, "Oh, keep business and personal separate," for a small business owner, that's one and the same. Mm-hmm. That's what fuels me, is my business, and it's personal too. I love what I do. I have a lot of passion. I love all the kids, all the nonprofits I work with, and so it's totally intertwined. There's no separation between personal and business for me right now.
You mentioned the workers. You have a very specialized workforce, and also that they often come from UC Davis. And so what does this mean for you if we are able to relaunch? I mean, there's going to be an even potentially bigger lag for you.
So those are things that we're working on behind the scenes, trying to figure out different start dates and plans for each of those start dates. We'll be okay, because we also employ high school students that are amazing and ready and trained and bored out of their minds and want to come back. And so I'm not too worried initially, but I do worry about those college students not returning. They're about 65% of what our workforce is made up of. And so I'm also hoping maybe that those students who returned home to Davis because they were asked to leave their college, there are a lot of them who have worked for Swim America in the past. And so perhaps they can come back temporarily until we get our other college students back in town.
What can the community do? Everyone wants to know how to continue supporting local businesses, but in a business like yours, it's not as if they can, come in and use the pool services or, remotely shop for swimming. What can you suggest to them?
Well, I'll show you a picture. These are all the people on our staff that we had to let go. And so for those people, they have real faces. And so please, when you interact with them as if they were your own son or daughter. That's one thing. The second thing is, when we open our doors, to come in flocks. I worry about the summer, and drowning is a real concern. And with us not practicing all those skills that will help make us safer in the summer, is going to give us a false sense of reality, and we'll be in the water and we won't be doing the things that we were doing throughout the year. And so be careful about that. And so what you can do for me, again, is just support our current staff. And when you see them on Facebook or when you hear from them, just love them and just remind them of the critical work they do. And that's what, we don't have gift cards. We don't have really any retail. I feel like right now I'm more in a giving. We're trying to give. I shared with you yesterday, we shared some disinfectant and some paper towels and toilet paper, things that are here and available, that I'm happy to share as much as we can, keeping some of it for when we reopen. But you know, right now I feel like I'm serving. I'm going to continue to serve as much as I can, and hope that we will reopen soon.
That is an incredible message, and it always inspires me, and which is why I wanted to do Downtown NorCal, because business owners like you are prolific. You're leaders in the community every single day. And sorry, I know I'm getting a little choked up because the service nature, you know, you're so threatened and yet you're continuing, you're persisting.
Yeah, I think the hard thing, again, as a leader is for all of us to remember that our leaders right now are faced with decisions that at a moment's notice can change. And a lot of us are backpedaling. And what we said 2 hours ago may not be true. And to be patient, to know, I trust our local officials to serve us. We elected them. And I truly believe that they are there to serve us, and for them, even at the local level and the county level and the state level, just remember those small businesses. We're the ones who make each small community rock. You know, we are the rocks, and we make us rock. You know, so please, please, please don't forget about the small business. And I'm not talking about nonprofits. I'm talking about small business, for-profit businesses that employ our people here in our community, who always, if you look at all of the posters around town, we are the ones who support our youth groups and any of the nonprofits, whether it's Thriving Pink or Rotary or whatever it is. You know, we are the ones on those posters, and we're the ones who are continually giving out of our own pocket, you know, to make this this place rock. So so please, 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 again, going back to the leadership, know that as leaders, we're doing the best we can with every decision we make. And if we keep in our hearts who we serve, our decisions may be wrong, but they can be changed and made right.
You know, I always have a part of my interviews these last few days about asking folks what they would like to say to their local or state leaders, and I think you just did. To that note, I also always give a tip about how folks out there can support small businesses, and I wanted to announce, if you have not already heard about it, the Yolo County Board of Supervisors met today. They appropriated $250,000 to begin a community benefit fund in order to identify gaps that for all the variety of needs in our community that might be there if there's no program for any specific group. And they are going to be partnering with other large entities like Dignity Health, Sutter Health, Kaiser Permanente, Yochadihi, and potentially connecting with our cities. So I don't have the details, I don't think they do, on what those gaps will be, but is there anything you would like to convey? I think you said it pretty well, Rose. Don't forget about small business. Anything you would like to say to them? I know that, for example, your employees, you know, have the opportunity for a little while anyway to have unemployment insurance, but I know that not all small business owners participate in unemployment, and so when there's no income, there's no income.
So I can't talk on that. I was under we all have unemployment insurance.
Okay. Some have said they do not. So
Okay, interesting.
yeah,
That's another whole
whole
conversation,
other
right?
conversation. Yeah.
But the other thing too is that's all great. Like remember the small business, but also the whole status on loans, and if whatever information they can send us and give us about the SBA disaster loans. And I know that there have been a couple people, including me, who have gone on and got locked out. So we spend a lot of time during the day trying to get our information in, try to get us in the queue so that people know that we're interested in some of these loans. And mainly because, and I think that most of them, I think I have a note here is, for our local people to use your voice to help pass the bill in Congress that is a provision that would allow for forgivable loans for small businesses with under 500 employees. So that's huge. And when we're trying to continue to employ our staff, those are the sparks. That's the pixie dust for me, is to see that there are loans out there available to help me keep my business healthy for when we reopen, and also to keep my staff employed so that we can assemble the staff and get started as soon as we're given the green light to start.
Okay. Well, this has been Rose with Swim America, a heartfelt interview. I'm so thankful to you, Rose, for joining us. This is Heidi with Downtown NorCal. Please join me again tomorrow. I have a couple of interviews scheduled tomorrow. I usually just try to do one a day. But thank you so much, Rose, for joining us.
Thanks, Heidi.
We'll talk to you soon.